Why would there be gold from a Spanish galleon in Tobermory Bay? If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Standing here on November the 5th, 1588, you would have felt the very earth shake. For a moment, you might have thought it was an earthquake, until you got smacked in the head by flying debris. Out there in the beautiful Tobermory Bay, a galleon from the famed Spanish Armada had just exploded with a ferocity that ejected jetsam and men into the shallows. So why did it happen? And is there sunken treasure that you can still look for today? The tranquility of this picturesque bay was shattered. Windows rattled, water surged, and the hills echoed. Characteristic Hebridean mist and rain had turned into a smear of wood splinters and a hail of timber. Fishing boats rocked. Locals were stunned. Drop to your knees in prayer or run for cover. You better choose quick. In the chaos of that dark November morning, the question that hung in the smoke-filled air was, what and who caused a Spanish warship to blow itself to smithereens in a Scottish harbour? In the summer of 1588, Philip II of Spain had unleashed the Great Armada against Queen Elizabeth I of England. A fleet of 130 ships bristling with supplies, cannon, powder and soldiers intent on invasion. But so what? Before the Union of Crowns or Parliaments, Scotland wasn't even at war with Spain. What's that got to do with us up here? If you're interested in history at all, then you probably know that fire ships, weather and a bloke playing bowls on the English coast wrecked Spanish ships and scattered them to the winds. And so, by late October 1588, the San Juan de Sicilia limped, wounded, into the bay here. These days, known as the Tobermory Galleon, the ship's commander had 800 tons of injured boat and 63 crew with 275 Spanish, Italian and Flemish soldiers to be fed and watered. Since Scotland was a non-combatant, he hoped that the local chief would help them on their way. What he didn't realise was that the ongoing Hebridean soap opera with Clash of Clan, intrigue and Highland warriors was playing out as usual. And he'd just become a new character introduced into this episode to spice up the plotline. Sir Lachlan More MacLean was the Clan MacLean chief down at Duart Castle in the south of the island. You see it standing gloriously in the Sound of Mull from the ferry. If you haven't visited, you probably should. Anyway, Big Lachlan and his boys were feuding with the MacDonalds because right now tensions were particularly high because Lachlan More might have inadvertently brutally massacred 18 MacDonalds who were guests at his mum's wedding, and imprisoned and tortured his new MacDonald stepdad. I'm just saying, family get-togethers were a bit tense. But there was also an international dimension. You see, both clans would rent out Galglass mercenaries in Ireland, and probably to both sides of Ireland's conflict with Elizabeth of England. MacDonald forces had previously raided MacLean lands in Mull, Coll and Tiree with the help of English soldiers from Ireland. Now, don't feel sorry for Big Lachlan. It's the kind of thing that he could, would and had done himself. All I'm saying is that MacDonald, MacLean and English troops were pieces on the same chessboard. Anyway, that was the moment that fate delivered an unlikely package to McLean shores. A battered Spanish Armada ship carrying hundreds of trained, well-armed Spanish soldiers. Some say that it was filled with silver plate and gold to pay the entire Spanish army that had intended to land on England's shores. Some say that the ship also contained a princess, or at the very least, a noblewoman. You have to have some unlikely love interest. Lachlan Moore proposed a deal to the Spanish commander. The McLeans would feed, supply and help repair the ship if the Spaniards agreed to help Lachlan with a wee bit of McDonald's slaughtering. Welcome to Mull. Some Highland hospitality? Por favor. Now, the captain needed the provisions and repairs, and he had the spare men, and so he agreed the deal. McLean hostages were put on the ship and some Spanish soldiers were sent to live in Duart Castle. Just to be sure. Clan McLean now had a war party including 100 Spanish soldiers armed with the muskets of the day and 2 small cannon. So, as autumn turned to winter, McLean and his men led their new Spanish mercenary pals on a rampage through MacDonald lands, burning villages, cutting down anyone in their way, and generally ravaging MacDonald territory. Rum, egg, muck and canna were turned into a blood-soaked smoking graveyard. So when you bang on about the Campbells, just remember what the McLeans did in this area. Now, given that I'm right on the doorstep, I'm popping into Antopa, the theatre here in Mull. Some of y'all know that I've been touring my live comedy show Scotland Made the World, and in 2026 I'll be performing it in here. I thought I should pop in and say hello. Now, there are still dates in Scotland, and in 2026 I'll be bringing the show to Canada. So click the link top right or in the description below, or go to www.brucefummey.co.uk for dates and tickets. Whilst these guys were rampaging around MacDonald lands, back here in Tobermory, the ship was being refitted and supplied. Now, apparently, one of the guys in charge of the resupply was a merchant called Smollett from Dumbarton. Some have said that he was in the pay of Queen Elizabeth of England's spy master, Francis Walsingham. Now, the Spanish troops knew that they had to be back in time to sail home before winter. So, killing done, they headed back to their patched up ship, ready to set sail home. It was as dawn broke on November the 5th, with final preparations underway, something out there went kaboom. The ship's powder magazine ignited and Tobermory Bay lit up like Guy Fawkes Night 18 years before Guy Fawkes was born. Because Scots invented everything. The ship was obliterated in an instant, killing most of the McLean hostages aboard and many Spaniards. Some were blown into the water and they survived. Some were even blown ashore. One lucky survivor was Lachlan Moore's physician. He'd been aboard as a hostage, but standing in the prow of the boat, he was blown clear onto the beach and lived to tell the tale. Now, the McLeans were out in the Jacobite uprisings, and in April I'll be taking 25 folks on a unique Jacobite tour, taking you to the key locations and doing a deep dive into the history of this key period in Scottish history, including great hotels, great locations and a visit to Culloden battlefield on the 280th anniversary of the battle at exactly the time the guns started. We'll go to the places where it all happened. This'll be history focused, but we'll also throw in a couple of outlander locations for the ladies. If you want to be one of the select group to join me, then click the link top right or in the description below, or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk. Okay, that's the adverts over. Now we have our setting and our suspects gathered. A crafty Highland chief, his bitter MacDonald rivals, a Spanish captain and his men far from home, and whispers of an English spy skulking in the background. Of course, this being late medieval Scotland, there might be some supernatural characters as well. Who could have blown up the Tobermory Galleon? Okay, let's start with the supernatural. Now, I'm not suggesting that I believe that stuff. My feet are planted firmly on the ground. You probably know that I studied physics. Although after a few drams, I struggled with the laws of gravity as well. Anyway, our first suspect is straight out of Highland folklore. A witch blew up the ship. Mull had a reputation for witches, and local legend suggests that a powerful witch claimed responsibility for the entire storm that wrecked the Spanish Armada in the south of England, and then brought the Tobermory Galleon here and caused it to catch fire and explode. Francis Drake was just taking credit for Scottish achievements, like the English always do. Another tale tells of sex, lies and demonic cats. Remember that Spanish princess love interest? The woman who, instead of lounging around in a lavish royal palace, decided that she'd rather risk her life with a bunch of Spanish jack tars invading England. Aye, that one. Well, the story goes that she caught the eye of Lachlan MacLean. Lachlan's wife wasn't having her husband making googly eyes at some Spanish senorita. So the jealous Lady MacLean got a local witch to summon a mob of mystical cats to go aboard the Spanish ship and wreak havoc. The Spanish captain and crew woke up to a swarm of phantom Highland pussies scratching their masts, clawing their sails and using their gunpowder stores as a litter tray. In the commotion, one demon cat's tail caught fire. Then it brushed against a powder keg, and that is what set off the fiery furball of doom. I'm just saying. It's a theory. If not witchcraft, then what? Let's keep things simple. Occam's razor. A Spanish sailor called Occam was having an early morning shave in the powder room. He dropped his razor, which hit a candle, and the obvious happened. There's probably only 3 people even get that reference, and 2 of them didn't think it was worth it. Anyway, what I'm saying is that it could be some tired Spanish gunner was sneaking a pipe or accidentally dropped some hot rocks. That's always a possibility. Boom. No conspiracy needed. Warships did sometimes blow themselves up by mistake. That was certainly how the Spanish explained it. But accidents don't make for good whodunits, especially when so many people had so much motive. You see, there were plenty of other people stood to gain from the galleon's destruction. Sir Lachlan More MacLean. He'd been playing a dangerous game, harbouring a Spanish warship. Now, he'd sent word to James VI when the warship arrived, but using its troops in his private war, all while James VI and the Queen of England that he wanted to succeed looked on in suspicion. Could Big Lachlan have primed the powder train and plastered the walls with paella? Maybe he feared the Spaniards would grass him up. Snitch. Maybe he wanted to keep the Spanish troops here. Maybe he was scared they might be paid more by the MacDonalds to take their side. Maybe he wanted to curry favour with Elizabeth by getting rid of the Armada ship for her. In fact, the Privy Council of Scotland later recorded that the Galleon was destroyed at the instigation of Lachlan More. One Highland tradition lays the blame at another member of the clan Maclean, Donald Glass Maclean, one of Lachlan's kinsmen. According to this version, the Spaniards tried to sail off without paying outstanding debts to the Macleans and taking Donald Glass with them. The fiery Maclean clansman, imprisoned near the ship's powder store, said, if I'm not getting off this ship, neither are you, amigos. He lit the fuse and blew everyone up. Who hasn't felt like that in a Calmac ferry? Might this be true? I don't know, but it's a cracking good story. What about the MacDonalds? They'd been on the receiving end of that month-long rampage that included the Spanish. They had ample motive to want that Spanish ship at the bottom of the bay. And if a few Macleans went in the process, culprits or not, you know they must have raised a celebratory whisky when they heard the explosion echo across the sound. But our final suspect may be the most likely. The English. Aye, them again. Fancy a whiff of Elizabethan espionage to spice up this Hebridean drama? Cue the entrance of John Smollett of Dumbarton. He was that merchant in Walsingham's pay who'd been conveniently hanging around Tobermory helping resupply the Spanish ship. That's right, the Elizabethan MI6 had a man on the inside. One theory suggests that as the Spanish got ready to leave, Smollett sneaked a slow-burning fuse into the Galleon's gunpowder store and then got the flock out. Kaboom! Mission accomplished. No rogue Spanish vessel to aid a future Catholic invasion or join with Irish rebels. And considering Lachlan Maclean had already flirted with serving Elizabeth and would do so again, who says he wasn't involved as well? Of course, there's one other way that the fuse could have been lit. By Colonel Mustard with a candlestick in the galley. Sorry. Over 4 centuries have passed and the Tobermory mystery remains unsolved. It's an enduring legend of Scotland's wild west coast. Divers and treasure hunters have scoured the bay's muddy floor ever since, hoping for a glimpse of the past and maybe a coin in their pocket. Some pulled up cannon, anchors and timbers from the wreck, now displayed in museums. Others only stirred up sediment and stories. The rumour is that the ship carried a fortune in Spanish gold, the pay chest of the whole Spanish Armada, maybe 30 million ducats of treasure, said to be out there to this day. You hear whispers in Tobermory pubs of the untold riches that lie down in the dark bay, for those that dare to look for it. You see, experiences of some Tobermory residents suggest it might be cursed. Oh, you didn't know about the cursed skill? Don't worry, I made a video about it. It might be the video coming up on screen now, who knows? If you enjoyed this video, then like it, share it, and watch the next one. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, ha mé an dóchas gún bí lá málaí. Sherry and Drast.